So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talks 179th episode. In the last 178 episodes, we have talked to, interacted with nearly 3,000 plus school leaders on this very platform where they've shared their ideas, opinions, innovations, and what all new are they doing in the education space. So नमस्कार, आप सभी का स्वागत है ब्लब वर्ल्ड वेब टॉक्स के 179वें एपिसोड में, जिसमें आज हम जानने की कोशिश करेंगे हमारे शानदार स्पीकर्स से that what do they think will be the future challenges for our teenagers. So in the next 60 minutes that you're going to spend with us, we're going to ask the speakers that we have with us on their ideas, opinions, on what do they think would the challenges in the future look like for teens. Before we start talking on this, let me just explain the format to everyone who's here. Think of the Blub World Web Talks as a speaking sprint. It's not a speaking marathon. So once your speaking time is over, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It's just to finish the activity on time and keep it crisp and entertaining for everyone. Initially, we'll be taking your thoughts and then it'll be an open floor. If you miss out onto anything, if there's something more that you want to add, you can do that during the open floor at the end of the, or nearly towards the end of the call today. Secondly, Blub World Web Talks is a bilingual platform. So you can either use English or Hindi, any of these two languages in the complete conversation. Try sticking to these two languages, because if you use a third one, I might not get it, but you can still use it. Try sticking to either English or Hindi in the complete conversation. So today, this conversation that we're doing is for a very specific reason. We work on a very simple idea of teens inspiring teens. Every month, we try to find out teenagers who are doing superbly well in life and share their stories with many more teens across the world. So while working with them, we always thought that a lot of people always draw a very gloomy picture of the future in front of teenagers. Now, is that picture really gloomy, or are the teens equipped to handle that gloominess? Because things could be bad, things could be worse, but are we prepared is what makes the difference. So let's try to know from our speakers, what are their thoughts or their ideas on the kind of challenges that teens will have in the future. So now let me invite the first speaker for today. A very warm welcome, Ms. Anvita Gupta, the head of school from Santa Maria International School from Faridabad, Haryana. Anvita ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself, and a very warm welcome.
So thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here, and especially working with the teens is always very, rejuvenating and refreshing. And yes, you're right. I mean, you came up with the very correct point that is it really gloomy, or are they equipped to deal with the future? I would say I would go with a 50-50, because I think while they are equipped, because they are the children of today and this is their world, but the world is constantly changing, and while their world is full of opportunities and things that we didn't have in our teenage, but it also, with those opportunities come a lot of challenges and a lot of things that the teens should be aware of, which as they're teenagers, they're young adults, they may or may not be aware of them. So some of the things that I feel have been there for some time and have got a little aggravated or with the COVID situation, which I think we need to focus on the teens and we need to help them get over it. The COVID situation didn't help them at all. One of the things that we saw even before the COVID hit us was their dependency or the use of technology. I believe that the use of technology is a double-edged sword. I mean, it is absolutely wonderful that we are all using technology and so are the teens, but it comes with with its challenges. As adults, we at times don't understand the challenges and they are just teenagers. So I would say that one of the challenges that are going to be in the future, the good part of it is that yes, they have a lot more access. You can connect with each other like we are doing right now, despite being in our in our own spaces. We are being able to conduct this session, but of course, there are dangers as well that come with it, because you're absolutely exposed to the world. There are times when we put things on the Facebook or any social media platform, which may boomerang on us, which may leave some footprints, the social footprints that it leaves for us. So I think one of the things that as schools we need to do is we need to equip them. We need to help them understand that what are the precautions that they can take, what are the things that they can do to safeguard themselves when using technology for their for their information and for their betterment, for their development, for being more exposed. So I think one of the main things is that we must equip them with the goods and the bads of technology. So that being one. I think the other thing that has increased a lot, which was there in even the social spaces, was cyberbullying, which is very much a part of the system, and that's something that we cannot see. In a school situation, when they would come to school, you could see a lot of times, you could see things happen, you could cancel. Now, with social media, it's a faceless space where we don't know where the threat is coming from. So we need to be absolutely aware of that, and we need to keep our teenagers conscious of that. The other thing that the COVID has done is that it's taken away a lot of yes.
Thank you so much, Anvita ma'am. So whenever you see the hand around you, it's basically the last 30 seconds remaining. So thank you so much. I think you gave the talk a very nice start, where you talked about typically the children or the teenagers that we're talking about have a 50-50% scenario to deal with. They have to be prepared. At the same time, they have a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, they have a very new set of challenges in front of them, where they will have to fight some things that we haven't even imagined. And at the same time, they will have opportunities that we could never imagine for ourselves. You talked about one of the very important issues that's going on right now that could take a very big form in the coming times, is cyberbullying, or how do they protect themselves when they're online? Because we have given technology to everyone. We are all now riding on the wave of technology. But the biggest problem is we don't know the horse that we are riding, and the pace is too fast. So these two things actually make us really, really vulnerable to things that are going around us. So let me now invite the next school leader to share their ideas on the same topic. The reason why we are actually talking to school leaders first, and then we'll be going to the teenager, is we also want to see that does this crystal gazing exist with the teenager, or he breaks the crystal. So that's what we want to know from them as well, that what happens to it. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. B.T. Usha, the principal of Purna Vikasa Vidyalaya from Bengaluru, Karnataka. Usha ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself, and a very warm welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I continue with what Anvita ji has said. And of course, let me not put upon any points over that which has been already discussed. One major thing, what I look at it for the teenagers as challenge is innovation. So any sector that we take it today, everything is being developed by the generation which is past so far. The only thing is that innovation is the challenge for them in every sector that we put there. I mean, a footprint. Say if we take a mobile, all sort of mobile phones that we have today. If one of my students has to design something, obviously he has to think, very innovative in that way. What else a new feature that I can add on to it? So this kind of a challenge is every sector the younger generation is going to face. So for that, they have to need a lot of research. They have to do a lot of research, and they need to be prepared for that. Each and every sector is an innovation for them. That itself I see is I don't know, should I say it's a positive or a negative, but it's 50-50 again. But innovation itself is a challenge for them if I have to put my point. So it's everywhere. So that's my point for the day. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ushama. And I think a very important point, that innovation is good, but a lot of innovation is challenging, and that's quite stressful at the same time. But the biggest problem that we are facing, that everywhere, whether it's business, whether it's profession, whether it's a salary job, in every arena, the biggest risk that we are facing, that if we're not innovative enough, we might be chucked out. So there is no comfort zone that we're able to achieve. And as humans, we are not meant to constantly fight for achieving something. At the end of the day, we need some recluse which gives us some kind of solace so that we can return back to the grind. But the problem here is we are being constantly pushed into the grind, and we don't get the time to actually put our head out of it and think of life that's going on around us. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Vasuma S. Achar, the principal of Vidyaniketan Public School from Bengaluru, Karnataka. Vasuma ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm really delighted. I've heard the two speakers. It is very true that technology has its do's and don'ts, and teenagers have to rightly choose what they have to do and the time limit and the addiction the present generation have. it is a very difficult thing. Just by talking or just by telling them, it is not going to go. So that is one thing I definitely agree with Anvita ma'am and Dosha ma'am when she said innovation. My take here, a challenge would be the choice given to the teenagers. Maybe we are throwing a variety of choice, and what is the world out is lucrative and attractive. So teenagers usually do not know how to select what they want at their age is one thing I keep seeing in the present generation. That results maybe in their career choice. Like when we were young, we knew that we would go and fall into a bucket engineer, doctor, or a teacher. But now there's what you get anything like a photography is a new innovation, the field in photography, or if you call it artificial intelligence, robotics. So the passion is one, compulsion is another. The right direction the teenager should take, I think that clarity should be there in a child or in a student, so that he can be more clear when he goes in the future. That is my take on this. So the choice given to teenagers is plenty. So there, maybe we need to help them out how to choose and how they lead their life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So they are right now in a overflow of choices where they need don't have the right skill to actually do the right kind of choice. And most importantly, within the curriculum that we have, within the framework that we have, are we really, teaching them how to choose, what to choose, what are the parameters that you should be looking at? Because normally what we are only talking of is passion. If you're passionate about something, start doing that. But the problem is, if everyone's passionate about something, then there'll be an absolute oversupply of something. And that will create a big financial challenge or a sustainability challenge for the student in the future. So we need to be more aware of the parameters and at the same time make them more aware of the parameters that are around them so that they can make better choices. So I think the point that you added to the discussion is that for them, the content is there, the choices are there, the curation is the challenge. And we now need to teach them curation or analysis and then decision making of things. So let me now invite the next school leader. The next school leader comes from a place which we normally, with all the web talks, what we try to do, we try to bring in all the strata of schools. We try to bring in the maximum geographical variety. So the next school leader comes from a tier 2, tier 3 town. So it would be very interesting to know from him that what does he think from his perspective and his surroundings, that जो teenagers या जो बच्चे अभी स्कूल में हैं, ये जब बड़े होंगे और जब अपनी प्रोफेशनल लाइफ को जीना शुरू करेंगे, तब उनके लिए tier 2 में क्या challenges होंगे, tier 3 में क्या challenges होंगे. Because the problem with education, and specifically with education in India, is we play with a very wide variety of children. And for that wide variety of children, we have one single policy. I think that's where the real challenge happens. With such variety, we need, I think, many more policies, many more instructional ways and methodologies to percolate education at every strata. A very warm welcome, Mr. Piyush Tripathi, the principal of Shloka International School from Gopalganj, Bihar. Piyush ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Very interesting and very educative. We have heard the talks with Anvita ji. But here I would like to add that we have observed 2 sessions. One, the pre-COVID session, and the current COVID session that we are living in. So our students, our generation has shifted from bookish worm towards, they have become now, I would like to say, a tech prodigy. They have learned a lot through this process. And during this process and during this transmission, we have let them go. We have given them much opportunity to think. And this has become a very concerned period for us, how they are heading towards the from becoming tech savvy to tech prodigy or cyber giants now, may become now. So the cyberbullying that has been already mentioned by Anvita ma'am is well with us, and this may lead to depression in so many aspects. The one is the students where they lack opportunity of the schooling, the physical appearance, they have not attended the school for the last one session. So this is the main concern for us now. They were unable to cope the situation. They may lack the understanding level. They were unable to comprehend with us. They were unable to comprehend the teaching methods that we have adopted in this COVID situation. And presently, if they are exposed to the media, exposed to the internet, they are well aware and they are attending these social medias also, the FB, Twitter, and others. So we have to be very careful about them for handling all these materials and what we are getting there. So they are well exposed. They were well exposed with this on-screen violence. Means the games they have been playing with, like PUBG and others, they have their own. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Piyush ji. आपसे हम थोड़ी देर में वापस से बातचीत करेंगे जब we'll try to know from you कि जब आप अपने आसपास के बच्चों को देखते हैं तो आपको उनके भविष्य में क्या फर्क दिखता है, बिकॉज जो बड़े शहर के बच्चे हैं उनके लिए तो टेक्नोलॉजी का एक्सेस था, उनके पास डिवाइसेस का एक्सेस था. आपके पास नॉर्मली जब टीयर 3 और 2 टाउन में हम लोग बातचीत करते हैं तो एक चीज जो हमें कंसिस्टेंटली मिलती है विच इज कि बच्चों के पास डिवाइसेस नहीं थे, घर पे एक ही डिवाइस था जो बहुत जने शेयर कर रहे थे. तो ये चैलेंजेस से ठीक है, लर्निंग गैप तो हो गया, लेकिन वो जो मेजर लॉस है क्या बच्चे उसे कोप अप कर पाएंगे? और टीयर 2 में जहां बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स अब फाइनेंशियली भी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं तो क्या बच्चे सच में वापस स्कूल आ पाएंगे? ये 2-3 ऐसे चैलेंजेस हैं जिन पे हम आपके पर्सपेक्टिव से भी ट्रेकिंग इन द कमिंग टाइम. सो नाउ लेट्स हियर द टीनेजर कि जिसके सवाल की बात हो रही है, जिसके आसपास सारी बात हो रही है एंड जिसको सारे जने इतना सारा ज्ञान दे रहे हैं. व्हाट डज दैट टीनेजर थिंक? बिकॉज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट इन दिस डिस्कशन इज that when we make policies, when people around us make policies, when we make the rules, we don't ask the teens. And the problem is they only follow. But the teenager right now has been liberated with technology. He's more intelligent than you. He understands things better than you because he's a technology native. And the problem is now you cannot make rules. Even if you make them, he'll always find a way to surpass them. So what does that teenager have to say? Let's listen to him. A very warm welcome, Mr. Adyot Nandan from class 11th of Vidyaniketan Public School from Bengaluru, Karnataka. Adyot, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, sir. I hope I'm clearly audible. So teenage, the years between 13 and 19 is termed as teenage, and it is classified as turbulent times for the children as they're going through a number of changes physically and mentally. Teenagers face a lot of problems, whether it is lack of self-esteem, stress, bullying, cyber addiction, peer pressure, to name a few. Cyber addiction is the fastest growing problem amongst all the other common teenage problems. Hence, I have chosen to keep the primary focus of this talk on cyber addiction. So now, what is cyber addiction? Cyber addiction is the excessive, compulsive, and non-productive use of the internet by an individual who is desperately relying on it to occupy free time for recreational or social purposes. Example, excessive online gaming. In today's world, teenagers are encouraged to use the internet as perhaps it is the only way we can communicate and keep in touch. And of course, it is mandatory to keep the education system going. The real challenge lies in how we use the internet. The next question arises, is the internet safe to use? Well, the thing is, no one is completely secure online. Parents should talk to their teens and make them conscious or aware of cyber safety and how to protect themselves from the internet, and how to make sure all your personal information or data that is not compromised in case of a security breach. Here we enter into a totally different field known as cybersecurity, and I believe that all teens should have a basic knowledge of what cybersecurity is. Society's dependence on technology has become an undeniable fact of life, especially in today's troubled times. There is nothing wrong in saying that you're heavily dependent on your phone or laptop, because we all are. However, there is something wrong in not knowing how to keep yourself safe while using your devices on the world wide web of craziness. So now getting back to cyber addiction in teenagers, the biggest question asked is how much is too much? Cyber addiction can be better understood based on the kind of usage of the device rather than the time which they spend on it. Let me give a brief glimpse into the effect of cyber addiction on teenagers. Disturbance in sleep patterns, staying up late at night, playing video games will have a very negative effect on the health of the individual. Decrease in social skills and physical activity. Cyber addiction leads to a drastic decrease in physical activity, less interaction with friends and family. The third and the most important one, I believe, is virtual bonds take over real life bonds. What I mean by this is bonds with video game characters and fellow gamers sometimes becomes more important than the bonds we have in real life. That should not happen. When teenagers are faced with social problems, they tend to seek refuge in video games. Video games have become what psychologists term as an interactive antidepressant, as success comes really easily in video games, whereas in real life, you need to persevere and success takes a long while. Concerns that teenagers have today are multifarious, that is of many different kinds. Family consisting of parents and guardians, teachers should be well aware of the problems that teens face and be prepared to mitigate them to the best of their abilities. In a sense, they should make the experience less daunting. It's still too early to analyze the full impact of cyber addiction, that is the prolonged social isolation on young minds due to their screen habits. More time is needed to know whether increased cyber addiction will end with the pandemic and to what extent its effects are reversible. But for now, one thing is for sure, screens are definitely not going anywhere, and we will have to learn to cope with the new reality in which we do not compromise our health and well-being. I would like to just end with saying just one thing. I was also a video game addict for many years, which resulted in a gradual decline of grades and me wearing lenses of very high power. And by choosing this specific topic to speak on, I believe it is a big step in my personal fight against cyber addiction as well. And I hope to overcome it completely one day soon. I thank my school for this opportunity, and I wish good luck to all the teenagers out there, and thank you and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajot. I think we all just got taught. That's a big deal for a teacher because I think you gave in some very important points which could not have come out of an adult, because the most important thing is you actually come from that arena and you know that arena much better than us. I think two very important points that you mentioned in this interaction, which I would like to take ahead in the discussion. The first one is online safety for everyone, because we are all there. We don't know that. Secondly, cyber addiction, which you primarily talked about. And I think one more point that you brought in, which is very important, that interactive antidepressant. I think this is the psychology behind the product development teams of most of the gaming and technology companies. They are trying to give you gratification so easily and so quickly that you get stuck to the product and you get stuck to the experience. And I'm very, sorry to tell you all this, but any startup who right now pitches for money and comes from the technology space, he has to give an answer on one specific parameter, which the investors call stickiness. That for how long can you hold your audience onto a platform? And this stickiness actually amounts into this interactive antidepressant syndrome, what we can say. So now, since we all got schooled, so let's take our opinions from the school leaders, that what do they have to say? Now, I would first want to, typically it's an open floor now, so if you want, you can just raise your hand and I'll let you speak. But I would first want to take the thoughts of Anvita ji on this, because Anvita ji, you come from a school that I think handles some of the best financially stable families, financially stable children, and who would have these challenges much more deeper within your ecosystem. So what do you feel, that is the teen within those circles also aware that he's right now at least somewhere in the soup?
Yes, this is such an important topic, and Adyut has put it up so well, and I'm so glad he understands that. Yeah, we, like you said, that we cater to a community that is, is able to afford a lot more devices, a lot more there's a lot more time in the hands of those students because most of the times the parents are working and the children are with their devices. Yes, they're spending nights and nights not sleeping and working on this. Interestingly, I feel, and this is my personal opinion, that it is the children of these homes that are more impacted with this because of the abundance in their life, because of the devices that they have, because most of the times both the parents are working or they are busy doing something. So there is a, I wouldn't say it's neglect, but it's just the lifestyles that we are leading. You would be surprised to know that we are also grappling with situations where the child is ready to drop out of school because of this addiction of games. And we are just trying to explain to the students that this is not going to help them. So yes, and like I said, the COVID has not helped in this situation at all. Children have become more and more dependent on this. We all know, I mean, as school leaders, and I'm sure our teenager also over here knows, that it is so easy when taking an online class to just switch over to a game and to be playing a game. And that is happening all the time. Students who should be on the field playing are actually so addicted to, after these 2 years of being at home, their health has gone down and their mental health has gone down. Their social ties with friends have gone down. So there's a very large vacuum that has been created with COVID. Of course, the schools have tried their best to have these online classes and all, but you cannot replace online classes with real school where the child learns how to fall and stand. And like Adyut said, that it isn't a video game. Life is not a video game where you get another chance and you have your double waiting for you and you have those lives. You have three lives. In life, you don't have three lives. You have to make the wise choices. So yes, I do think that this is a very huge change or shift that has happened, and especially in the schools like ours, where the students are privileged in terms of their in terms of the choices they have. And also, there's one more thing I'd like to mention over here, which is so important. I think parenting has to play a bigger role in this, because I have seen that there are parents who are, it's nice to, every child should have a voice. And as an international school, we offer the IB and the Cambridge. One of the things is that children must have a voice. But I don't think we should forget that they are, after all, children, and their choices are based on that level of experiences that they have. So there are times when parents need to step in and say, all right, I have decided you need to do this. If you don't do this well, then we look at the other choice. But right now children are just playing with choices. They just, and the staying power is so less. It's like a video game. You don't like this game, you go on to another, you go on to another. But in life, for example, if I give a real life example, if you are going to be taking your exams, you've done a 2 year study, you can't keep changing your subjects because you don't think one is right. So I do think that with this COVID situation, and I won't only blame COVID, we were already getting there, but of course this pushed us deeper into it. Mental counseling, mental health is going to play a very, very important role. And I feel that as schools, it is our responsibility to first talk to the parents, to train the parents, to have, let them see the light of the day and work with the students. And it's not going to be easy because it's so deep in our system now. We've, in a manner, we pushed them into it and now they're addicted. So I think that psychological health, therapy in schools, giving them a lot more opportunities to play, showing them the other side of the picture. There's been so much uncertainty. I mean, children have actually banked on this because they've seen their father lose a job, their mother lose a job. The fear that you may get COVID and you may not live through it. People have lost very near and dear ones. So yes, so that is it from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anitaji. And yes, that abundance is really making a lot of things more challenging, and so many choices, the three lives in the game, and most importantly, all those things do not translate into real life. And when you talk of education, the purpose of it is to give you a small little stimulated dose of real life so that you get prepared for it. But you are living in such a virtual world that there's no space for the real world anymore. As Adyut already nicely mentioned, that the virtual relationships take over the real ones. So now I think let's do a small little face off. Let's talk to Adyut's principal कि what's happening within their school, कि आपके स्कूल में when you actually look at students, आपके पास अद्युत जैसे कितने बच्चे हैं, दूसरे जैसे कितने बच्चे हैं, and उन तक अपना पॉइंट पहुंचा पाना क्या सच में आसान है, क्या हो पा रहा है, and parenting का उसमें एक next level रोल है. Because already if you look at the ecosystem, the parent and the school, they are right now against each other in a lot of arenas. But this is a place where they have to come together. So are you in a position where you are actually able to bring them together and give them that kind of an inspiration? Over to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Adyut has spoken the right lines, I should say. And as Sangeeta ma'am has pointed out, yes, I think every school is going through this phase. But what is my view on this is we need to bring them back to the old situation. We need to bring things which are more attractive than those games and the addiction to what they had. So create environments within your school so that they get attracted to the normal life which they should be leading at school. Because we need to keep telling them this is the most important phase in their life, because we also remember our school times. We don't remember the later half of our journey in education. So that is the, I should say, the cherry on the top of an ice cream. So we have to create opportunities. Definitely parents should be oriented and parents should be talked to, counselors should be available at school, counseling students to come out of it, and they have to make an attempt. So from each and every stakeholder, maybe it is a teacher or a parent or student itself, should come out of it. For that, we need to, as schools, create attractive environments so that they are welcome back. So you need to innovate your ways of dealing with your students. That is what I want to tell. And we are not suffering so much as ma'am mentioned. Most of them love to come back to school. They are wanting to be in an offline mode. And we have seen 80% of them coming to the offline classes. So I think we are doing some, where we are getting them back to their school life. That is what I wanted to communicate. Thanks, Daksh.
Thank you so much, Osama. Actually, you gave a very challenging opinion that let's build something that's more stimulating than the video game in real life. I think this is a challenge that most of the people globally are not able to do anything about, because making real life so attractive is, not very easy. It might be super expensive. It might not be affordable. And at the same point, when you're talking about education, when you're talking about teaching somebody something, and that also in an attractive manner, this is where it becomes challenging. We can do a lot of pedagogical discussions, लेकिन वो end point पे comparison में that gaming arena always wins. And the problem is, sin always finds a way, to place itself. So before I actually move ahead, इस पॉइंट पे मुझे पीयूष जी से ये जानना है कि सर, आपने अभी 2 तरीके के स्कूल्स की बातचीत सुनी, इतने बच्चे की एक बात सुनी जो अर्बन बैकग्राउंड से आ रहा है. आप जिस शहर में बैठे हैं वहां पे बच्चों की डिवाइस एक्सेस, इंटरनेट, गेमिंग सब कुछ अलग है, सारी आदतें उनकी अलग हैं. आपको क्या लगता है, क्या बच्चे वहां भी इतने ही ज्यादा एडिक्टेड हैं, और क्या ये चीजें उनके भविष्य पे असर डाल रही हैं?
Definitely, sir. I am in a city which is somehow not as have got the infrastructure that we have in Gopalganj. So, and nearly 40% students, they don't have the device to attend the classes, and really they face much problem. Whenever father goes outside, he takes the mobile and the gadgets, and so they miss the classes. Definitely they have, and so we have to supplement those students with other form like worksheets. We have provided them worksheets about and compiled lectures what we have completed during the week. So weekly we have supplied them with the worksheets and the video lectures and the online classes. So in this way we have accommodated themselves to cope with the situation. But I don't think that the students are well at par to do the things at their level best. Really, there we are facing definitely it's a big challenge for us to provide and to cater them what we are doing day by day. it's really a challenge for us, definitely.
थैंक यू सो मच पीयूष जी. एंड आई थिंक ये स्पेक्ट्रम के दोनों एंड्स हमें यहाँ पे दिख गए कि एक एंड पे अबंडेंस है, एक एंड पे स्कैर्सिटी है. एंड द प्रॉब्लम स्टिल रिमेन्स द सेम. एजुकेशन उसके पर्पस को पूरा नहीं कर पा रही, ऑब्जेक्टिव पूरा नहीं हो रहा. एंड बच्चा कहीं ना कहीं, इफ यू टॉक ऑफ साइबर एडिक्शन, तो वो वहां पे कहीं ना कहीं लूज कर जा रहा है, और जहां अबंडेंस नहीं है तो वहां डिवाइस लॉस की वजह से लूज कर जा रहा है. सो उषा मैम, व्हाट्स योर ओपिनियन और व्हाट्स योर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऑन, will you actually be able to create an atmosphere where the parent comes together, where we are able to build an ecosystem within India, where we are able to share this? ये bandwidth जो कहीं बहुत ज्यादा है, कहीं बहुत कम है, क्या हम इसको कहीं ना कहीं इक्वानिमिटी या इक्वालिटी पे थोड़ा बहुत खिसका पाएंगे या ला पाएंगे? Over to you.
Right. So we started with what challenges the teenagers have, but we have two different perspectives to look at it. One is the regular scenario challenges that we had passed from so many years. It passed from 1.5 years, the second line of challenges has popped up. So that is the pandemic which has gifted us. So in a real life scenario, first of all, I mean, the first round of discussion, what we had, what Anvita madam said, as well as Rasuma madam said, those options and the technology, first of all, it is there. Now added on to it, this pandemic and online classes and working parents, and they couldn't manage a lot of things which are coming up as well. So now, first thing is the general parental talk that we had. The common complaint that we get from the parent community was child is not concentrating, watching so much on TV and mobile and all that. So now pandemic is given an opportunity for them to get an idea, okay, they can spend more time with it. Now, by note shown that every child has a smartphone today because we moved on to online classes. Now, they've, as Abhyut said, it's like easy movement that they had to get connected to each other. There were cases where apart from the regular online classes, students amongst themselves, they had their own community, treated their parents saying that we have online classes, our teacher is taking, where we didn't know whether the parents were also not aware about it. So this is how, and to what extent teachers, to what extent parents have to monitor that towards that side is really a difficult thing. So somehow, why I strongly feel is, so when education comes and all of us work for the development of a child, it may be, we call it as a holistic development or academic development or whatever. I strongly believe that school, teachers, parents, as well as students, we need to work in the same lane, because finally our products are our students. So we cannot say, most of the cases what happens is the understanding between the school as well as parent community, sometimes it doesn't go well. So whereas we need to bring both of them together, then only we can work with the child. So parental education is very important. Parental involvement in school is very important, either however is possible. And we have tried out different ways. One is like academic discussion that we have with the parents. Apart from this, like we don't wait for the career guidance when they come to our deciding classes like 10 or +2, whatever. What we start, we look at from grade 6 upwards, and we see our parent community. If anybody is really excellent or particular place that they represent, maybe a police department, education department, or engineers, doctors, research scientists, whosoever, we start picking them from our parent data itself, and we ask them to have a normal conversation with the students to give them an idea right from the beginning. So that is where we feel that our parent communities also feel that they are valued and they are part of the school entity. That's how we bring in parents. So the most of the cases what we see is parental education and upbringing. The sad part of it is the mobile phones have become optional. I mean to say it's another option to keep the child quiet at home. That's very sad. You see a young child, if he should be fed by his mother, any food, they'll show us some kind of a rhyme which is being played and some cartoon is being played. Those were the days where taken outdoors and show something interesting, talking to neighbors, all that is evaporated. So this is really a challenge now to have our teenagers in a right way going further as proper, individuals in the society, responsible citizens in the society. I strongly believe that the entire education entity, here again, the school, teacher, parents, as well as the students should work together. So there is nothing that we have this way or that way, because there are certain schools that strict protocols where parents have to take, they shouldn't meet the individual teachers or anything like that. But somewhere we need to keep a window open for the parents to approach us. So we may say parental involvement is very important, but not all the parents know how to deal with their students. Whereas teaching community have been dealing with such students for many years and they have better experience than one parent. So that window should be kept open for the parents to come and approach. And they should feel, okay, they have seen some unusual behavior of a child. Okay, they may find some kind of assistance from the school because they know school knows my child better than me. So that is where, parents should be a part of the education. So that is where we need to keep our window open for them too. So that's my point.
Thank you so much, Usha ma'am. And I think at this point, I would again want to get Adyot in. Adyot, jitne principals yahan hain, jitne school leaders yahan hain, they still believe that a teenager can be monitored. A teenager can be really understood that wo kya kar raha hai, what's happening around in his life. And your own principal said ki sare bacche school aa gaye and 40% to kam se kam bhi they are, back to normal. But you know the inside story. Can a teenager really be policed or can a teenager really be monitored? क्योंकि जो उन्हें monitoring कर रहे हैं उनको तो technology आती नहीं. So what's your opinion कि क्या वो जो gaming हो रही है, what's the insider edge? What do you think on that? कि क्या बच्चे सच में वापस आ गए हैं या जो उषा मैम ने कहा कि ऐसी क्लासेस हो रही थी जो स्कूल ने अरेंज ही नहीं करी थी लेकिन वो हो रही थी. So what's your take on this? कि क्या बच्चे को सच में कोई monitor कर सकता है?
Sir, what I think is like a teenager cannot be 100% monitored. It's like a rogue mind, sir. It's flying in all directions, and 99% I would say yes. And what I believe, sir, when you reach a crossroads in life, you get two choices: the right choice or the easy choice. Let me take the example of the online class, sir. The right choice is to concentrate on the class. The easy choice is to WhatsApp, Discord, Instagram. I'm including myself in this too, sir. During my class hours, I have also been on social media, and I have definitely regretted that after seeing my beautiful marks I got in my tests. And now I have realized it. And if you choose the right choice, then definitely success is not far away. Thank you.
So the right choice or the easy choice? I think Adyot, you had been. Thank you so much for being so true to us. आपने कहीं public forum पे अगर ये बात बोल रहे हो तो this actually makes a lot of difference because what we felt after working with so many teenagers, हम लोग इतने सालों से we're only talking to teens, and what we felt was you cannot monitor them. They are far more intelligent than you, and you don't have the right means and modes to actually reach out to them. The only way that you can reach out to them is give them the control and let them face the consequences. You cannot do anything else. And whoever thinks within the education ecosystem that there will be a way to monitor a child, even through technology, I think there's some bad news for you in store that you won't be able to do that. Because teenagers are, and I think that is the good news. Since teenagers are so creative, they'll be able to make a good life for themselves. Since they know how to hack that technology even. So I think वो good और bad दोनों part एक साथ ही है कि आप monitor भी इसीलिए नहीं कर पा रहे क्योंकि वो creative है और वो creative है इसीलिए उसका आगे जीवन बनने वाला है. So I think this actually brings us to a paradox कि आप वो कीजिएगा या आप वो नहीं कीजिएगा. So while working with teenagers, we thought that the only way that you could influence them was by telling them stories, because humans love stories. And there's a psychological bias that all of us have that we call the story bias. If we know a cause and effect relationship, we start replicating that in our life. But the problem with our stories in education is that they are too old. If you tell somebody like Adyot, let me tell you the story of Martin Luther King. Now he's gone. He's not there listening to you. But if I at this moment tell you a small little story of a teenager who started her painting career when she was only 9 months old, had her first sold out show at the age of 3, was invited to one of the most respected galleries in Europe at the age of 9. And right now, she was just some years back invited to one of the most respected galleries in New York. And these shows were absolute sold out shows. Right now, she's only 14 years old and she's a millionaire. And that child is known as the world's youngest professional painter. And that's what we do. We try to find stories of teens from across the world. And the teen I'm talking about is Elita Andre. She was on the cover page of Blub World just some months back. I think these kind of stories might interest teenagers like Abdul, because at the end of the day, if you have an example that they can relate to, they might do something better. Ye last 60 minutes mein humne jitni baatein kari, if a teenager listens to the episode, they'll only be listening to him and not to all of us. So just what we did, we thought, let's bring these amazing teenagers onto a single forum, and we are trying to build the world's first and the biggest parliament of teenagers. Let us give them the power to change the world. We are very thankful to our supporters, UNESCO New Delhi office, UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute, and Save the Children Foundation for supporting us. We are inviting teens from across the globe to share solutions to problems. The only thing that they spend to be a part of it is their intelligence and nothing else. So this was the Blub World Web Talks 179th episode. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, and if you want to attend the future sessions, you can open your audio, say a big yes, and thank you so much for being here with us on the Blub World Web Talks. All the people listening to us on YouTube, share your comments, share your ideas, and tell us what you want to listen more on the Blub World Web Talks. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.